They just blew the lid off the NFL draft, and the rest of the league is scrambling to catch up. Everyone thought they knew exactly what was going to happen, but the front office took a massive risk that could define the next decade of football in this city. We are talking about a total restructuring of the roster, a bold maneuver to secure future playmakers, and a gamble on athleticism that, frankly, most teams are too afraid to make. The foundation for a championship run is being laid right in front of our eyes, and if you look closely at the board, you will see a masterclass in calculated aggression. Before we dive into the master plan, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. Let's be real for a second. Was a trade up for a wide receiver a genius move or a desperate attempt to cover up for a looming departure? Drop a comment below and let me know if you think the front office got it right or if they missed the mark. The centerpiece of this entire draft narrative is the acquisition of my lemon out of USC. When the front office decided to jump up to the 20th pick, they didn't just grab a player. We heard the rumor from us that a major star might be heading out the door, and this move essentially confirms the writing on the wall. By trading up, they completely block the competition. There is footage floating around of the player on the phone with another team that had their sights set on him, only for the deal to vanish because the jump was already executed. That is the kind of aggressive decision-making that changes franchise trajectories. Now, some of you might be looking at the frame and questioning the fit. He is not the massive, tower-like receiver people are used to, but let's look at the modern game. We are entering an era where the slot is not just a secondary position. It is the engine of the offense. Look at the most successful teams in the league right now. They aren't just looking for deep threats. They are looking for guys who can win in traffic, track the ball with surgical precision, and turn a simple slant into a highlight reel touchdown. This kid is shifty, he is savvy, and he has that dog mentality that this city demands. He is going to be a perfect complement to the current receiving core, acting as the ultimate safety valve while providing a dynamic spark that keeps defenses guessing. But how does this fit into the long-term vision? Is he the true number 2 receiver this team has been searching for? Or is there another piece to this puzzle that we haven't seen yet? Stick around, because the answer might surprise you when we get to the defensive overhaul. Let's shift gears to the guys who are going to make or break the next few seasons, the athletes. When you look at what the front office did in the second and third rounds, it is clear they are obsessed with one thing: pure, raw, unteachable athleticism. They brought in Eli Sturz, a tight end who is essentially a giant wide receiver in disguise. He is built for the modern seam attack. The blocking might be a work in progress, sure, but you cannot coach the kind of verticality and speed he brings to the field. He is a mismatch nightmare. If you put a linebacker on him, he is too fast. If you put a corner on him, he is too big. Then you have the tackle position with Marquil Bell. People were worried about his weight, but the kid shed the bad stuff and is now a terrifying wall of a human being with wingspan for days. He is not just a body. He is a prototype. The strategy here is classic forward thinking. They aren't just drafting for who can start week 1. They're drafting for who is going to be protecting the quarterback when the veteran leaders decide to hang up their cleats. It is a long game, and it is a smart one. But wait, just when you think you have them figured out, they threw a curveball that nobody saw coming. A developmental quarterback from North Dakota State. Let's talk about Cole Payton. A lot of people are scratching their heads at this, but you need to understand the vision here. He is not your standard backup who just holds the clipboard. He is a dual threat weapon. He brings a level of athleticism to the QB room that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm talking about someone who can run with power, drive the ball into tight windows, and effectively serve as a Swiss Army knife on the field. Think about the ways other teams have used mobile quarterbacks to create confusion in the red zone. That is the blueprint. He is raw. His delivery needs some tightening, but the tools are off the charts. He is a high-ceiling project who could become a headache for defensive coordinators in situational packages. Is he the future? Probably not. But could he be the secret weapon that steals a couple of games for this team next year? That remains to be seen. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room, the defensive side of the ball. The acquisition of Jonathan Greenid was, in my opinion, one of the smartest transactions this team has made in years. The market for pass rushers is completely broken, and teams are throwing ungodly amounts of money at guys who have never even proven they can stay on the field. Yet, the front office managed to land a guy who has produced double-digit sack seasons, fits the defensive scheme perfectly, and costs a fraction of what some of these other teams are paying for injured, unproven talent. It is a no-brainer. When you compare his reliability and his production to the other options that were available, it makes the trade-up and the draft assets spent look like absolute larceny. He is an instant starter. He is going to benefit from the pressure generated by the other guys on the line, and he is a monster against the run. This is exactly how you build a championship-caliber defense, by being smarter than everyone else in the room. But if you think that was the only splash they made on defense, you haven't been paying attention to the late-round gems. Let's look at Micah Morris and the rest of the defensive haul. Morris did not give up a single sack throughout his time at Georgia. Let that sink in. He is a technician, he is disciplined, and he is athletic enough to handle the speed of the professional game. Then there is the absolute enigma that is Bernard. This guy came through the International Pathway program, and honestly, he might be the most gifted athlete in the entire draft class. He has never played the game like the guys who grew up in the system, but his physical metrics are so absurd that it doesn't even make sense. He is a project, for sure, but the ceiling, it's infinite. If the coaching staff can harness that raw potential, they might have found a diamond in the rough that other teams didn't even know how to evaluate. And don't even get me started on the safety position with guys like Koas Nuski, a converted linebacker who shed weight to become a ball-hawking safety. That is the kind of versatility that Vic Fangio loves. The ability to move guys around, change looks, and disguise coverages is what modern defense is all about. This draft was not just about adding bodies. It was about adding chess pieces. So, where does this leave us? We have a new wide receiver who is going to change the dynamic of the passing game, an athletic tight, and who creates matchup nightmares, a tackle for the future, a gadget quarterback, and a defensive overhaul that prioritizes production and athleticism over everything else. This is not a rebuilding year. This is a reload. The team identified the specific holes in the roster, they attacked them with precision, and they didn't let the noise of the draft weekend distract them from their plan. The question is, are they actually better than they were last year? When you look at the departure of some veteran names and the introduction of these hungry, young prospects, the team culture is clearly shifting. They're getting faster, they're getting more diverse in their skill sets, and they're becoming much harder to scout. If you are an opposing defensive coordinator looking at this team's tape from last year, you're not going to have the same game plan for this upcoming season. That is how you stay ahead of the curve. We have covered the picks, the trades, and the logic. Now, it is time for the final verdict on the entire draft class. We have seen what the experts say, but the only thing that matters is how this translates to the grass on Sundays. Do you think this draft was a home run, or did they swing and miss on some of these prospects? Drop your final grade in the comments right now. I want to see if you guys are as high on this class as the analysts are. This offseason has been wild. We have seen trades, we have seen massive contract decisions, and we have seen the front office pivot in real time. But one thing is for certain, they're not playing for second place. Every move from the trade up in the first round to the international prospects in the seventh has been aimed at one goal, getting back to the top of the mountain. Keep your eyes on the training camp reports. That is where the real competition starts. That is where the depth chart gets sorted out, where the vets get challenged, and where the rookies prove if they can actually survive the grind. The roster is deeper than it has been in a long time. The competition is going to be fierce. And if you're a fan of this team, you have to be excited about the versatility of this new lineup. We are entering a new era. It is fast, it is aggressive, and it is built to win in the modern NFL. Stay locked in for the rest of the offseason, because we're going to be breaking down every single development as it happens. We're going to keep you ahead of the news cycle. We're going to keep you informed. And we're going to keep you right in the middle of all the action. This is only the beginning.